going on, guys? It's Caleb here with my very first episode of the Daily Individualist podcast. Thank you so much for coming and checking this out. This has been actually not on my mind for that long, but it's been in development for the last couple years. Just didn't know how this would come out or how it would materialize itself in my life. Especially through these last couple years, specifically the last two to be exact, I was kind of started living my life differently, started to see things very differently. My mind has been changing, and I feel like I finally know what I'd like to say to the world, and I feel like I finally have a message that I want to give you guys and share with you guys. So a little bit about me and why I started this is very simple. It feels right to me. It feels like it's something that I can talk about forever. I can constantly find new ways to exemplify what I want to share and kind of what I want to accomplish. And fuck all that. It just feels right to me. And I'm passionate about it. And I believe that I can, help people, even if it's small, just by, people hearing that there's someone else that thinks like you. There's someone else that sees the world through the same eyes that you do. And that's why I decided, you know what? Let's give this a shot and let's start the Daily Individualistic podcast. The Daily Individualist podcast. Still working on this. Give me a break, all right? So I figured the first thing to do was probably to start with a definition of what it is to be an individualist. It sounds like something that sounds bad, I'm not gonna lie. If you don't know the exact definition of what it is, then it sounds like something you probably don't want to be. But once you've heard it, I feel like it resonates with most people out there. Most people can resonate with individualism. It's very different than being selfish, than being self-centered, than being a narcissist. It's not that at all. And honestly, that's what I thought initially. I thought it was all of those things mixed into one, but it's not. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and read the actual definition of individualism, which is the habit or principle of being independent and self-reliant, which is good. I kind of like that. But here's another one. Google says, it's a Google question. It says, what is the true definition of individualism? And this one says, individualism is all about taking care of yourself. It is the belief and practice that every person is unique and self-reliant. It also goes on to say a belief in individualism also implies that you believe that the government should butt out of your individual affairs. Not totally against that, but I'm mainly all about the first part. That's the part that really resonates with me, which is individualism is all about taking care of yourself. It is the belief and practice that every person is unique and self-reliant. Now, why would I even think about this? Why does this apply to me? Well, I know for me, right now it's 2022, but 2021 has been, in my opinion, the culmination of the last 4 years of my life. 26 is when things started to change for me mentally. That's where I started to get new ideas. I started to slowly but surely reject a lot of these societal norms and societal ideas that I just didn't agree with. I started to reject things in my life, the way that I was living, things that I considered to be normal, things that I considered to be right and wrong. And those are the things that started to change with me. The biggest catalyst to that change was I started to spend time by myself and learn who I am, learn what I like to do, learn what I think is important, what I don't think is important, learn what I feel like is fun to me, not fun to me, all of those kinds of things. And a lot of it came from just spending time by myself and doing things that I want to do by myself and for myself. And in turn, I found myself, if that makes sense. I'm only 29. So like most of you, most people would say that they wasted their 20s. And in some ways, you might be right. You probably did waste your 20s. That's what most people do. I felt like that for a while until I started to look back. 26 happened, And I started to realize I've gone through so many things, had certain jobs, dated people, had certain experiences. And all of these experiences were really just to harden my resolve in myself, to break me down so that I can build myself back up. And I thank God every day that I went through every single thing that I went through. I thank God every day for the mistakes that I've made. I thank God every day for the good decisions I've made. I thank God every day for the people that I've encountered, the people who came into my life and left on their own accord, the people who are in my life and stayed. All those things, all those events, and all those different things that happened are all specific to me. And they've all helped me to become the best version of me. I'm still not there yet, but I can feel it. I can feel like I'm finally getting into the vibe and the energy and the flow of who Caleb really truly is. Still figuring that out. I'm sure it's going to change over time, but I highly doubt that this aspect of me is ever going to leave. From now going forward, I'm always going to do what feels right to me. I'm always going to do what makes me happy. No matter how big or how small it is, I'm going to do it if it makes me feel good, or if it makes me feel fulfilled, or if it makes me feel like me. So, what are some of these benefits that I'm talking about? Well, to explain the benefits, I should probably explain the different things that I've been doing. So, I started working out about 4 years ago. I was in a bad place emotionally, and I was totally aware of that. Like most men, you kind of reach your bottom once you have a bad breakup. And I totally had a bad breakup. I went through that 100%. Split up, didn't want to talk to her, didn't really want to be her friend. We did the whole, back and forth thing and all this bullshit. Um, just because I wasn't honestly being true to myself and I wasn't listening to myself. Because in my opinion, I was still doing everything that I thought I was supposed to do by societal norms rather than doing what I thought was right for me. And if I had done what I thought was right for me from the beginning, probably wouldn't have gone through some of that stuff. But that's why it was essential for me, because now I can look back and hopefully never make those mistakes again. But I was down really, really bad. And I wanted to start making changes in my life. And one of the biggest changes I wanted to make was to reconnect with my friends, get better health, because I was pretty unhealthy at that point. I was about 220, had like a Gucci belly. All my boys were calling me Gucci at the time because I had the belly coming out up front. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was that guy. But life was good. You know what I'm saying? You're living with majority. You're eating nice. You're living nice. You're drinking nice. You're smoking nice. Like, I was living pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I was not hating my life at all. But after everything kind of imploded, I needed to kind of bounce back. And the number one question I was trying to answer was, who am I now without someone there? Who the hell am I? What do I like? What don't I like? Like, I literally sat down one day and I had to write all this stuff down because I couldn't believe that I actually forgot who the fuck I was. But I did. I definitely did. I didn't realize that I forgot who that was. So, I remember my homeboy, very, very, very good friend. Um, we started going to the gym together. And like most people, a lot of people probably won't say this, but I was terrible in the beginning. I was the worst friend in the beginning. We would book to go to the gym on Friday. Friday would come, I'd make an excuse. I'm doing this. I'm too busy. Oh, I'm not feeling this. I kept doing that for the longest time. Well, anyways, over time, I started to go consistently with him once a week. That once a week was like, okay, now I've kind of found my groove. I figured out what I like to do, how I like to start it off, how I like, workouts that I like to do, you know what I mean? I kind of found a routine that I liked. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start going by myself. At least, a couple times a week, twice a week, I'll go by myself. And that was the beginning of this journey to becoming who I am now. We're going to fast forward a little bit to 2021 specifically. 2021 was the year where I actually set a goal for where I wanted my weight to be. I was going to the gym the whole time, but I wasn't eating right, wasn't sleeping right, nothing. But I finally set a goal for myself of what I wanted to weigh and how I wanted to look. and I was willing to do everything necessary to get there. Now, I'm sure I wasn't perfect. I'm sure I messed up. I'm sure I didn't really get to where I was trying to go. But in this, there was also the side of me that said, if it makes me feel good, I'm doing it. Sometimes it could be that simple. I told myself, if it makes me feel good, I'm doing it. If it makes me feel good, I'm rocking with it. If it makes me feel good, I'm wearing it. Whatever. And I started to do so many things alone. One of those things was hiking. I picked up hiking. I don't know why, but I really like that shit. Walking in the woods, finding new spots, whatever. The first 4 times I went hiking, I would meet a woman who would just end up spending time with me. I'm not approaching them for some reason. I guess they would gravitate to me, and I would go to the same hiking place. I would go to the same hiking spot, but I would always be showed these different areas, these different ways of enjoying the hike. This trail over here, take this right over here, and it'll take you there. Or there's this rock under the bridge where the river flows, and we can just chill on the rock and talk and have our feet in the water. And I was just like, I fell in love with hiking. That even though I wasn't meeting anybody again after that, I still kept going by myself. Well, that transitioned into being more confident. And I remember one day in the summer, just this was just random. I just picked up and did it. Um, Going to the subway, dropping my car off, taking the subway downtown, and all I wanted to do was play some volleyball before the summer was gone. Simple. That's it. I just wanted to play volleyball before the summer was gone. So I went without any friends, didn't know anybody, took the subway, and I wanted that. I wanted to do that. That was a part of it. Even though I could have drove, but I wanted to just slow things down and actually enjoy life, enjoy my day, and enjoy all the little things that were gonna happen on the way to downtown. I live in Mississauga, so I was going downtown Toronto. I went to the beaches at Woodbine Beach, and I played volleyball there. Met some random people. Don't know any of them. Didn't keep in contact with any of them. Who cares? The walk, the getting on the bus, then getting off and walking to the beach, then getting to the beach and having to approach random people and ask them if I could play. From there, walking over to the cannabis store, picking up a little something, something, and then just walking around downtown smoking because I wanted to. And then taking the bus back whenever I was ready. I found a bench. I had, water in my bag. I had snacks in my bag. I had my Nintendo Switch in my bag, which I love that, by the way. I've been loving that little thing. Um, and I took that Nintendo Switch with me, and I just went on a park bench. I sat there, I smoked some weed, and I just chilled. I had music playing in my ears. I just enjoyed it simply because it's just what I wanted to do that day. And in that, when I was coming back, I was like, something was lit in me after that point. After that, it was just a fire that like I just couldn't deny anymore. That when I do what feels right to me, my life is so much better. My quality of life is so much better. It's not like I live in a mansion. I don't have, a fancy condo. I'm not driving a crazy car or anything like that. But my quality of life, my feeling of self, my confidence in myself, um, my acceptance of myself. Maybe I should make an episode on trying to accept your damn self. All these things I felt just by simply doing whatever the fuck I want to do. It was so simple, and I couldn't believe it was so hard all these years. Probably because I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to do what I thought was cool, trying to do what I thought the majority would be into, and all that kind of stuff. But the truth is that just never worked for me. I've always been an individualist. I've always done things a little bit differently than the people around me. Um, I've always tried to think for myself, but never consciously decided that I will always think for myself. And that leads to where I'm at now in life. No, I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied. That's the word. You'll notice I do that a lot. Because me and that best friend I'm talking about, whenever we have conversations, we always try to find the right word for the emotion that we're describing. Always. I will try my best at all times, and this is why I have to pick up reading. I'll probably just start reading a dictionary or something, because I like to use the right word to describe the emotion that I'm trying to convey, or use the right words for to this whatever. I always try to use the right vocabulary to do that. So these are some of the things that I went through that helped me accept myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, and forgive myself as well, and be willing to work on myself and enjoy the road of improvement, or enjoy the road of further acceptance. Because I don't think I'm, you can call it improvement, but there's a part of me that feels like I'm really just writing a new chapter. I don't feel like any of this stuff wasn't in me from before. I'm just letting it out now. I'm just happy that I'm just happy to be me all the time. And that's okay. I would be happy if you would be you all the time, even if we don't agree. I actually like talking to people who don't think the way I do. I love meeting people who don't agree with everything that I agree with. And that is okay. I don't wrong you for that. You're allowed, for now, to be and think, in my opinion, whatever the fuck you want. And if I want to think whatever the fuck I want, who am I to tell you that you can't? If I want to do whatever the hell I want, who the hell am I to tell you that you can't? These are simple ideas, but these are all things that took me years to accept that this is how I am, this is how I think, even though I've been acting like it for the longest time. I've always been someone that was easily approachable. I've always been someone that never truly judged people and gave them a hard time because they didn't see life the way that I saw it. I've never been someone that was just disrespectful to other people because I'm going through something, or because I don't like what you're doing, or whatever the case may be. I've never been that person. I've always been able to meet people wherever they are, find some kind of common ground, and go from there. And from the common ground, now we explore the differences because I want to know. So, my goal with this podcast, if any, is to connect with people who are like minded, inspire people to be themselves a little bit more, especially in this time when we have this massive herd mentality going on where you have to agree with the masses, or you're just ostracized, or you should be kicked out of society because you don't agree with the mass mentality, which in my opinion doesn't make no damn sense. How can we all think the same? There's millions of us on this planet. Why should we think with one way? Why should there only be one way of looking at a scenario? And the other goal that I have, honestly, is to spread positivity. Positivity is so much better than being negative. It really is. Being negative takes a lot of energy out of you, mainly because I don't think we were created to be negative human beings. We were created to go through challenges, but have a certain mindset in order to go through those challenges and come out on the other side a better person and just keep going. So if I can give anybody a more individualistic mindset, a more abundant mindset, and a more abundant point of view, I think I would have done my job. But again, just because I think this way doesn't mean I'm forcing it on people who don't think this way. You are totally allowed to disagree with me. And if you do, please disagree with me respectfully. I would love to hear your opinion. And I'd probably be like, true, if that's what works for you, no problem. Let's go play some ball now. Huh? Huh? Let's go have a drink now. Huh? Huh? You like to drink, I like to drink. Okay, well, we can meet on common ground, and I'm sure we have other things in common as well. But these are some of the goals that I have for this podcast, among others. But really, as far as the mission, this is what I want to give to people. This is the first episode, and I feel like this is something I want to do, is always have kind of a closing statement to kind of wrap up, the episode, or at least how I'm feeling that day or whatever. And there's a couple things. I actually started doing some research, and I realized there's tons of individualistic and individualism quotes and meanings and different things like that. And there's two that I'm actually looking at right now, and I'm kind of struggling on which one to pick, but I feel like there was one that had a lot more depth and meaning, in my opinion. So this is actually a passage from Ayn Rand's Anthem, and it says, "The word we is a lime poured over men, which sets and hardens the stone and crushes all beneath it, and that which is white and that which is black are lost equally in the gray of it. It is the word by which the depraved steal the virtue of the good, by which the weak steal the might of the strong, by which the fools steal the wisdom of the sages. What is my joy if all hands, even the unclean, can reach into it? What is my wisdom if even the fools can dictate to me? What is my freedom if all creatures, even the botched and impotent, are my masters? What is my life if I am to bow, to agree, and to obey? But I am done with this creed of corruption. I am done with the monster of we, the word of serfdom, of plunder, of misery, falsehood, and shame. And now I see the face of God, and I raise this God over the earth, this God whom men have sought since men came into being, this God who will grant them joy, peace, and pride. This God, this one word, I. That is so much better than the other one I was going to pick. There was a lot in there. You might have to listen back to it again to kind of catch the meaning. But I leave that with you today because you being true to yourself, I believe, isn't to the detriment of other people. So thank you for listening to the first episode of the Daily Individualist podcast. And I hope to see you guys the next time. Take care.